I'm going to drop a couple bombs on the FD channel right now.
It's very flattering that people are calling us the West Coast National. I don't think we're there yet.
Who are you rolling with?
I am rolling with FD.
I'm rolling with FD.
I feel like I see less patience in the hobby today. And I want to get your thoughts on that. When you hear of the large dollar amounts now around PMGs, what do you think?
What it takes for someone to spend that much money on any card.
Fanatics did something tonight I had never heard about. They have a lottery.
We got you on the line.
Oh my goodness, we're both on the line.
Hey, Nick, you got to let me know who you're rolling with.
I'm rolling with FD.
I don't think that the fact that they did Be Friends and Jackass is going to have any impact on how they treat sports cards.
So I asked you, FD, since we're rolling with FD.
Let's roll, man. What's up?
I never would have thought a little piece of cardboard would change my life the way it has in the last 4 years.
And the hobby is alive and well.
Alive and doing very well.
Alive and well.
You got to let people know who you're rolling.
I'm rolling with FD.
You got to let the people know who you're rolling with, man.
Well, obviously I'm rolling with FD.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Monday. It's 10/10, October 10th. Monday Night Football is on. You got Kansas City losing right now to the Raiders. I know there's some Raider fans out there who have been starving for this victory. But tonight, we have a guest on that I've been wanting to have on for a long time. And this is Goldberg from Luca Nation Network. Goldberg, what's up, man?
What's up, FD? I hope I don't disappoint. All those guests you had in the intro, that was a legit lineup, and whoever made that intro video did a good job.
Thank you. So I want you to know, Goldberg, my son G is my editor. He films with me at shows. He was 16, now he's 18, and he does all this, man.
I hope compliments to the chef. Let me ask you though.
What?
Do you put pressure on him? Like, are you the type of guy that's like, this edit isn't what I thought it was going to be? Like, you could do better?
That could be some feedback like that. Yeah,
that's legit. I think pressure makes diamonds. Makes diamonds.
That's some. We have conversations. I think he's learned a lot over time. And in Goldberg, he is going to college now. He's a freshman in college, studying to edit film. So I think this has been a good beginning step for him. You know,
where's he going?
He goes to Cal State Northridge.
Let's go. Mm-hmm. I love to hear that. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So his background, I'll tell you right now, when he was 8, 9, 10 years old, he would make stop motion videos with Lego figures. And so he would make like 5 to 8, probably 9-minute movies, and then we would sit down and watch them. So he's always had an interest. And then when I started talking about a channel and doing interviews as well as going to shows, we started talking about what we both wanted to do. And it kind of originated out of all of that.
I love it, man. I grew up we're immigrants. We moved here from Ukraine. Okay. And we worked our way up, and my dad bought out a cafe.
Okay.
Like a little corner store, serve coffees. We're from Philadelphia, so soft pretzels, a little nook in the wall. But I would always go there with him since I was like 12 years old. And a lot of the stuff that I learned today, like with our channel, we never really do marketing. Mm-hmm. We just do word of mouth, right? And he built his whole business when you just start like a little hole in the wall. You don't market. You just do right by your customer. One customer tells two tell four, and etc. So, man, in those days, we fought all the time. I don't know if you've ever seen Eastern Europeans.
I've been around some Eastern Europeans. Yes, sir.
When we agree, we disagree. It's very weird. But I miss those days. I miss those days a lot. It's that father-son bond.
It's very true. I kind of had some of that probably early with my father as well, and then we kind of morphed into almost like brothers, man. Like we were very, very close, talking about stuff all the time, and then as I got older, he would ask me questions that may come up to him and my mother, like, what should I do with this money when I get it? How should I plan for this in the future? And then we sit down. It's when you go from a child to an adult. We sit down and talk about stuff, and I can see him internalizing what I'm saying, and then I can see it put in place. I'll come home on a visit, and he'll sit me down and say, remember you told me to do X, Y, Z? I want you to see these are the things that we're doing, and we would talk about stuff like that. So those are the things that just build bonds. I think when you're young, you tell me what you think. you're aspiring to be something, and sometimes some stuff is already in you, and you're trying to figure it out. And another person may be older on their own path, and while you're trying to figure and say, "I think I got this," and they're trying to show. That's what that combativeness kind of comes in that, but it's all out of love. I have a 7-year-old son, 7 in December. Sometimes he's a lot like me. So sometimes I'll say, "Hey, Junior, can you do this?" And he's like, thinking, "I want to do this." And then we got to have a conversation.
It's very personality driven. And I think it's interesting. Like, I don't have kids. I'm 32.
Okay.
I imagine when you have kids, you see some of yourself in all your kids.
Mm-hmm.
I was always like my own path ever since I was like a little kid.
Okay.
It was just like who I was. Whereas my sister is the complete opposite. Like, my parents would always say, Andrew, we'd put you somewhere, you'd look 5 minutes and you would be gone. You'd be running around doing your own thing. With my sister, you'd put her, you could come back in 3 hours, she would still be sitting there. Okay. So a lot of it is like it's personality, it's character.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, man. Most definitely. So now we already kicked this off because my first question was for you to tell us more about yourself, kind of where you're from, some of the things you've done. What led you up until this point? And I know you've worked with Gary Vee before, so you might tell us that story a little bit as you're on that walk.
What led me up to this point, man? A ton of ambition and a ton of mistakes. Is that fair to say? Yeah. Ton of ambition, ton of mistakes. So like my first love in life was soccer. Like all I've really ever wanted to do was play soccer. I was good in school, but like not great. It wasn't my love. I couldn't sit all day in class. I would always get like distraction or class clown or all that stuff. I just couldn't do it. But I played soccer at Drexel, walked on, left with a scholarship. And then I was like a finance guy in college because where we come from, a lot of it is like money and status, like we're immigrants and when you're an immigrant, you become like a doctor, a lawyer, or Wall Street. Like those are the kind of the options because you're at these family gatherings and you want to tell your son, like, we came here with nothing. And then look what we've done, Mm-hmm. I couldn't do it, man. I hated Wall Street. I worked at like JP Morgan was like an internship, Morgan Stanley, got a job at BlackRock. And like through 2 months in, I quit. I was like, I can't do this for the rest of my life. And I moved to the Bay Area and joined like a startup. Okay. And worked. And I was like, yeah, I want to do this on my own. And that's it. Started selling websites. This was like 2010. This was 2014. Started selling websites like door to door, like, hey, you're a realtor. Like, we could redo your website with a partner. And just learning business that way, taking a step forward, 3 steps back, selling really well, but then you have to fulfill and just learning business one step at a time. And at some point, like if I would say soccer is my first love, business is my second love. What I realized was I had good salesmanship, but I didn't understand marketing, branding, and content. Because it's really difficult to acquire customers in any business, right? Yes. It's very expensive. It's expensive to find viewers. But I would be like, wait, like these guys have brands and business comes to them. And wow, they're in Shark Tank. Why are they on Shark Tank if they're salespeople? Oh, it's because now they get inbound leads. And I discovered Gary. And the funny thing, man, we'll talk about Gary in a little bit here about cards. I discovered Gary from a business perspective in 2015, 16. So I came to him because I wanted to learn truly how to content market, how to market in this modern world. And I was like, dude, this guy gets it. Immigrant, helped his family business grow. This is all the stuff that I went through. I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be an apprentice. I'm going to try to get a job with him, learn marketing, learn sales. I know it's not going to be the highest paying job, but I think there could be something with it. And just through fortune and good luck and being in the right place at the right time, I got a job there. I'll stop because there's so many nuances in this story, but I will tell you guys, I'm the worst employee ever. I can't last anywhere. I'll deliver results. So I got to sell empathy wines for him. And I sold maybe like $100,000 worth of wine in 6 months. But I'll hustle, man. But you remember that little Andrew that like, he wants to go where he wants to go on his schedule? That doesn't always work in big companies.
That's true.
So
very true. So now, would you describe yourself as the worst employee? Why do you think that?
I think it's because I have ambition, I have initiative, and I kind of just go. Cage is my co-host in this. We always say I'm the gas, he's the brakes.
Mm-hmm.
And there's too much.
I see that a little bit when I watch you all.
If it was up to me, we'd have 10 businesses. If it was up to him, we'd have 0. So you get that. And in a corporation, they got you like, Andrew, just do this.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm like, Gary, like someone just left and now you need someone to run your podcast. You want me to run your podcast too? I know I can help the team. So it all comes from good intention, but it's not what the doctor ordered. And at the end of the day, life has a way of kind of putting you on the right path. So like it sucked, man. I didn't like it. I was like, man, I crushed it. What did I do wrong? But I've never been happier. I've never been more successful. I feel so much in my purpose now. And I get to kind of do what I love. I love creating content. I love helping other podcasters, breakers, and all those start their business. So like a lot of the stuff we do is like consult and help.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. And it's a lot of the things I learned while being there.
You know, a lot of people I've known in life, they're concerned about the name of the school or the name of the company that they're working at and not really concerned about what they're doing there. And then how does it fit them, what their skill set is, what they like to do, what they want to do long term or even short term. More people are concerned about this side, not this side. And I've known a lot of people personally who have worked places who, like you talked about, didn't fit their personality. They're working in a group that they don't feel satisfied. And I think it's good for people to take a step back. I'm even speaking to myself and find out what do you really want to do? You can go somewhere and be 15, 20% of yourself, pick up a paycheck and go home and you can ride that out for the next 40 years. Or would you attempt to take challenge yourself, take a chance, step out there. If you fail, you fail. If you don't, you don't. Then you learn something from that. And most people in life, man, won't do that. You know, that's a statistic I always say is that most people in life end up passing away 50 miles away from where they were born. And none of us have anything to do with where we were born. We're trained. We could just get set on a track and then we start going. Like we don't say, oh, I'm on this track. How do I get over there on that track? Most people don't do that. And for those who do, you understand that track change. You can get that. For those who don't, that's extremely terrifying. Why would I do that?
I think about this a lot. What do you think? What do you think causes that? Like, I think when you have nothing to lose or you hit rock bottom, oftentimes you realize like, I might as well shoot for the moon, right? Like I got nothing. Like, what do I got to lose?
I think that's part of it. So when I grew up in Chicago. So when I was 7 years old, I told my father, when I grow up, I'm not going to live in Chicago. Now, I just wanted something different. Inside of me, I've always wanted something different. Then that kind of grew from a child to having goals and aspirations of doing different stuff and picking up different things. And like I helped a friend who went to school and got his master's in film shoot a low budget horror movie. I knew nothing about movies, man, but I just know what I wanted to see. And then I became like a consultant on the set. Well, if something didn't look right, it wasn't shot right, I would pull him to the side and like, hey man, you can't. He was in the mindset, well, I can clean that up when I edit. But I said to him all the time, you can't edit trash. You can't make a trash scene look like something. When we both watch it, we're gonna know that wasn't shot right. So, but I had and he was like, man, where do you get this stuff from? Like, you talk about stuff like you've been to film school. Never been to film school. But there are some things that I just pick up on. I want to do. It was the same way when I played sports. Like, I wanted to be the best at what I was doing, playing sports.
I don't know if you've ever seen this documentary. It's called Defiant Ones with Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre.
Mm-hmm.
That one left an impression.
That's right.
That left an impression. That was a cool doc.
That's what it's all about, man. To me, it's just about desire. Different people have different motivators that get them started. Like you said, you can hit rock bottom and say, I want to do a restart.
Mm-hmm.
Just get to a point in your life where you just feel like I'm not satisfied. And I got to start doing something else so I can get my cup full. I can be satisfied. And, things get a little bit, they change when you have children and you have families.
For sure.
But the people around you are supportive. And they know that you're doing the best thing for you. And then you're really setting an example for the young people around you. I had a talk the other day with my 7-year-old son. He's in first grade. And I told him, when you go to class, I want you to think about something. And he was looking at me, just staring. I said, I want you to think about what will you learn today that will benefit you? Not the company that you work for. Not, we don't live in a world anymore where you work somewhere 40-some years and you retire with a pension. I used to work for a company that if you work there from college to retirement, you almost guaranteed to retire a millionaire, either from stock options or pension payments or whatever it was. That doesn't exist for a lot of people in America today. So make sure that you're fulfilled. And that's going to be something I'm going to be in that here about all their life while I can. Make sure you're doing something. You go to college, you go wherever you go. Think about how does this apply to you and how does it better you over time? And I think you will find yourself more fulfilled earlier than later.
And here's the real win. You don't live in Chicago anymore. You live in sunny California.
So I got to 29. No, I got to 30. And I said, I'm going to live in either New York, New Jersey, or I'm going to live in California. So I started looking for jobs in both. And then I ended up moving to Northern California. Then I moved to LA. Then I moved around different places. Like Goldberg, I used to move a lot before I had children. If there was a new job somewhere that was going to advance my career, I'm gone. I would tell people that. I was dating people, man. Well, I was like, you know what? I got this job opportunity. I'm probably going to be leaving.
It's kind of fun, though. I got to be honest. In your 20s, like, it's a little scary. It's expensive as fuck to move.
It is.
But it is cool. It is. It does have a lot of benefits, a lot of like novelty, right? You move to a city, you have to figure everything out again.
You have to figure it out.
And
it'll challenge you. You got to get out of your comfort zone. I always use the analogy to ask people out of there, okay, like, do you have your cheese on your cracker, right? You got to get you everything that you're used to. There's some social norms. There's some things that people say. There's some food that people may eat. All that's changing on you. The size of your apartment may change, or the size of your house may change. Wow. What's on TV may change. I lived in St. Louis one time. The finals on Kobe and Shaq are playing. The people in LA would be shocked. Kobe and Shaq are playing. I go into a place, they got the St. Louis Cardinals game on, regular season game on every TV in this spot.
They love their Cardinals.
I'm like, so y'all gonna turn on the Lakers? It was like, why would we do that? You gotta get used to that. You just gotta know that.
Are you a Shaq or Kobe guy? Are you a Shaq or Kobe guy, FD?
I like both in different ways. I wanted Shaq to be the guy who wanted to stay in shape all the time and be relentless about his physicalness, not just playing the game, but coming in day one in shape. That wasn't Shaq. I wanted Kobe to be more of a people person and work out, be relentless about what you want to do, but also show another side of yourself. And I think he started doing that and it got cut off. He started becoming a very different person and it got snatched from him. I bet you Shaq probably looks back. I don't know. I would imagine he looks back and like, man, I could have did so much more. Like Shaq, if you look at the guy, right, he should have been averaging 40, 45 points a game. He should have been snatching almost 20 rebounds. And Shaq should probably have 6 or 7 rings. And that's what he should have. Not, I mean, what did he get? 4 or 5? He got 4. Kobe got 5. That's Shaq.
Isn't that interesting? You know how we always talk about like nature, nurture, DNA. That 5th ring, it's a little bit more heart than talent, right? Because Shaq, there's no one like Shaq.
No one.
There's no one. Like
Shaq. Will be. No.
And Tim Grover always said, like, usually big guys are very insecure. Tim Grover's like Michael Jordan's trainer. Shaq was the meanest big man ever. You know, he was big and he was mean and he wanted you to know that he was bigger than you and he'll beat the. And usually big guys don't exert their dominance like that.
You know, I'll say even people I've met, like I play ball. I've met some big people. I've met some professional basketball players, been around a lot of different people in life. Most big people don't want to be big. They don't embrace it. I met a guy through a friend one night. We go out, we have dinner. This guy was like 6'7", man. The whole night he was bent down. Like he was kind of bent down the whole night. At one point I asked him, like, what's up, man? You don't want to be 6'7"? He's like, nah, I never played basketball. People ask me all the time about sports as if I should know. I don't know anything about sports. I don't know anything about basketball. I barely even know who Michael Jordan is. He really didn't want to have anything to do with that. And like a person like me, right? I've been bigger than most people since I was probably 6, 7 years old. I was real tall as a kid. Like my son now is tall. But I never looked at myself. You and I were in the same class. I never looked at myself as different than you. But when I got older, I embraced who I was, but I never used that for the dark side. I would say all the time. I never tried to bully anybody. I was a kid in school that was taking up for kids that were getting bullied, like putting an end to it. Like if somebody was bullying Goldberg, I'm gonna walk up and say, "Hey, I'm gonna say so many words, Goldberg, that kid will walk away knowing I'm never gonna mess with Goldberg again."
Well, this is good. Now I know someone has my back at the shows. I like this.
That's your back, bro. You don't even have to worry about it.
Rolling with FD.
You don't have to worry about it, bro. I got you. That's just how I've always been, and I like for things to work out fairly for people as much as possible, and for someone not to be taken advantage of. That's just who I am. So I know where it came from. Like I remember a kid in elementary school. His parents could pay his tuition, but they couldn't. They didn't have a lot of money to do much more. So he would come to school, and his clothes were not the cleanest. But he was a bright kid, but he was in a shell because he knew most people didn't understand his situation. And he lived with his grandparents at the time. So kids that try to bully him, pick on him, Goldberg, we put an end to that. And I never even touched people. I would just let people know that this guy over here, you just need to leave him alone.
This is in elementary school.
This is in 5th grade, 6th grade.
You just had that like presence, like that wisdom about you from a young age?
Yeah, I never liked bullying. I never liked people picking on people for no apparent reason. I never liked the statuses of this person has less money than me, so I'm better than them. I just don't get down like that.
Would your friends say like you're an old soul? You know, like you've always had wisdom? They would?
Yeah, my father and I used to joke that we were probably from the same generation. Not from the same generation. We used to joke about that all the time. He was born in the 40s. I was born in the 70s. Oh, yeah. All right, we got some comments here. So we got Michael Ham saying, "What's up, fellas?"
What's up, Mike?
Big John saying, "Hey." Sammy Goldberg, nice to see you without your cohort. Raiders are winning 17-9. Or the Chiefs scored 17-7. I'm not surprised because the Chiefs are not who everybody thinks they are.
Oh, you for real? I think Mahomes is the Jordan of football.
Goldberg, we disagree on that. I think Mahomes is about to have a reverse career of success.
Wow.
Yeah. I think when you take away certain pieces, like when they traded away Cheetah, I called several friends that day. My man's about to get challenged. Mahomes is about to get challenged. Cheetah stretched the field like probably nobody else he'll ever have. And he took a lot of pressure off him. Now the pressure is on him and it's on Kelsey. And Cheetah took that away. So I just don't see him being. And then let's just be for real. Mahomes plays in the league now. You don't touch the quarterback. We saw that this weekend with Brady. You touch the quarterback, you have a problem. Terry Bradshaw, Joe Montana, Phil Simms, Steve Young, and we can go even back. Those quarterbacks got destroyed. And now if you touch this guy, you got a problem. So he has every way to just step back there and look around. Give him a decent line. He's going to put the ball where it needs to be.
What Jordan did was no one played the game, even when he came in as a rookie like Jordan. You know, the game was a little bit more fundamental right before him. And then Jordan flared, tongue out, all that stuff. No one's plays the game like Mahomes from a quarterback position, running around, doing all that crazy stuff. Obviously, he hasn't done even a 1/100th of Jordan. But I do believe, first off, I'm a huge Andy Reid guy. Being a Philly guy, I love Andy Reid.
See, I'm not. So go
ahead.
You
don't like Andy Reid either.
He's Andy Reid's been on a good track. If you go back to the way he started his career, he's been on a good track for success, and he hasn't found it until they won the Super Bowl. Andy Reid was on a track where people want to question, is he Hall of Fame or not, before he won that Super Bowl.
Was it 9 NFC championships?
Lost every big game he's been in.
So Hassan Minhaj was on the Old Man and the Three. They had a good conversation about like defining winning, right? Mm-hmm. So like you're a competitor, you played sports, man. You know, for a long time I used to hate losing more than I loved winning. Mm-hmm. You hate losing. You so it's like losing. You're like, who's the only one that doesn't lose? It's that last team standing, right? And then Jordan 6 championships in a row. That's ultimate winning. But like at the end of the day, 9 NFC championships you're not winning the main thing, and losing in the Super Bowl, all that's valid. Yep. But like at the end of the day, like
it's an accomplishment. But But that's not legendary status. That's an accomplishment. We don't know who won NFC championships or AFC championships in the 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s.
It's not in and of itself. It's not alone to be a legend. Yeah. But if he finishes his career with 3-4 more Super Bowls and that, then it is legendary.
I don't think Andy Reid's winning another Super Bowl.
Well, obviously, if you think Mahomes is going to reverse course Andy Reid by default,
he's not winning another Super Bowl.
Well, that's because you're a Chargers fan.
No, I'm not a Chargers fan. I'm a Chicago Bear fan.
Okay,
I'm not a Chargers fan. Not at all. I respect Herbert, but I'm not a Chargers fan.
All right.
It's just me, though, man. Just give me my.
This is why we do what we do.
That's right. And this is why people want to see FD and Goldberg sit down and talk. This
is hard questions, man. Nothing's off the table.
So we got Samuel Reed saying, you guys see the Warriors game versus the Lakers? Yeah. LeBron shooting threes. Here comes the NBA.
FD, what'd you think of the Draymond versus Poole thing?
I want to talk to you about that. So I play sports. I've seen disagreements in the locker room. I've seen disagreements in practice. I've seen people push, shove, wrestle. I've never seen anybody pull back and swing on someone. I just have never seen that. I don't know. And there are a few other, like I was listening to Steven Jackson, who played with the Warriors and played in the NBA a long time and was involved in the Malice in the Palace. And I want people to know that I said something about this yesterday. The locker room and your team is different than if somebody threw a cup of water on you and you went in the stands. Most people can't understand that. It's totally different. So your brother or that you're on the team with, you're swinging on him as if you don't know him because of something he said. So Draymond came out in the press conference he did to talk about this and said that he was bothered by something at home that day. And did you watch that? Did you watch his?
I saw his apology. I didn't catch the part where he said he was bothered by something at home. I saw when he said he apologized to Jordan Poole's family, which I respected a lot because it's actually true. It's more embarrassing for the family, and so
especially with the ring ceremony coming up.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he was bothered by something really before he came in the building, and I guess the word is that Poole called him a walking single triple. Or a single double or whatever it was. And that, I guess, boiled him over. But I'm a different guy, right? So my senior year of high school, I transferred to a new high school in Chicago. The other high school cut out football. I was ranked high in my class. I decided to sit down, a lot of deliberation on this, Goldberg. Decided to move to a new school. I get to the new school. We're playing a game versus the same school that Tim Hardaway went to in Chicago. Tim Hardaway basketball player. And we're going through after the game, you're doing a high five. And so people started on the other team started pushing players in their face masks, like popping their head back. So a fight broke out, right? People are scrapping, throwing punches, throwing helmets. Our principal runs out trying to break our team up, get them to the locker room. Goldberg. I'm already walking to the locker room. My father was at the game. He said he saw the scoring sheet. Like, where's Fade at? He looks off. He sees me walking to the locker room. He knows me. So I get in the locker room. I'm completely changed by the time the team comes in. So the team comes in, and I was named Captain Goldberg first year in. People didn't like this. So the team comes in, and one guy started yelling and screaming that
Where you at, Roll FD?
Yeah, where you at? Where you at, FD? We out there. You're in the locker room. You're not part of this team. That's what he told me. So I got up, closed the door to the locker room. I want everybody out there to know about this side of FD years ago. I got up and closed the door to the locker room, and I told them I want everybody to listen to this. Coaches were in there too. I transferred here to play football. I didn't come here to scrap with people after the game because somebody got pushed in the face. I have enough wherewithal within myself to know that's somebody that probably shouldn't even be on the field. But they're on the field because they're in that program. They're not in this program. And if anybody here has a question about my loyalty to this team or where I'm at, just let me know. We'll have a conversation about it. I never heard anything else about that day. Never heard anything else about that year.
You have a way of delivering a message that's why you're so good at what you do. You're a very matter-of-fact guy, you know? there are athletes out there that rely on their.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Most of them are scared inside.
Most of them, it's fear, it's anger, right? Some people they play like they're tranquil. Roger Federer. The story of Roger Federer, when he was a kid, he was very tempered, and then remember, like in his career, like never looked like anything got to him.
Never looked like it.
I envy those people. I was always a little bit more boiled up and in my. So I see how things could escalate, and with FD, he could like push, but he could restrain. Where Draymond's always been playing on his emotions, guided
in line. Yeah.
In a lot of ways, he relies on that banter, fighting early in the game to get him locked in, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think even Steve Kerr once said you're the worst non-important basketball player, non-important basketball game of all.
Sure.
I can't believe he punched through his face. There's like a little, what I'm like. Mm-hmm. There's different ways to punch people too, and
absolutely right.
You could jab somebody, but like he kind of punched through him, and I love IG. I think the internet's the funniest thing ever. Like they folded him like a chair. The memes are all over. Mm-hmm. It would be hard to trust. It would be really hard to trust. But I think a lot of it relies on how Jordan Poole takes it. And honestly, I think 100% relies on how he handles it the next day, week, month in practice. I think that's going to be very interesting.
Something tells me that Jordan Poole is about to handle his business. You saw the game last night, right?
I didn't know.
Oh, he was clowning, man. He was pulling stuff out of his bag that was bananas. He had 20-something points. To me, in the preseason, points don't matter. It's about what you're doing on the court. He was moving around, passing the ball. I think Poole, I could be wrong. Something tells me that just watching him and his demeanor, I think he's pretty much done with Draymond Green, man. I think he'll be on the team with Draymond. I predict that Draymond's only going to be there this year. And I think Draymond's gone.
To Lakers?
Wherever. He'll probably run to LeBron. He'll scatter over to LeBron. But he's going to be done with Golden State. They're about to pay Poole a nice extension and get that squared away before the season starts. So there's no bickering over money and nobody talking about contract or I'm being disrespected. This is what quality organizations do.
It's quality organization.
They take care of their people. And I think he'll play along with Draymond, but I think that's pretty. He's not gonna boil over where it's become something, but that's not his dude over there anymore. But he'll play along with him.
I agree. I think the 1 year thing is accurate. The interesting thing, I think we love these scenarios that like have so many different layers. Tell me if you agree with this. I think it's easier to replace Jordan Poole than it is Draymond, though. I don't think there's another Draymond in the league.
Okay, let me say this. If you're talking about Golden State last year, 3 years ago, in 2015 when they won their first championship, the answer to that is yes. When you have Wiseman, Kuminga, Moses Moody coming up, that's less of a need for Draymond Green. You don't have to deal with this. There's two sides to Draymond. You don't have to deal with the other side.
There's a problem side, but there's the defensive coach. Like he's like an Ed Reed. You know, like this is where you need to be, always talking. Like you play basketball. Why don't like NBA doesn't rely on defense as much anymore? No. Like good defense is so fun to watch, and it relies on that person that could see all other four guys and just nonstop talking. Sure. I don't know many people you could replace with that. That's, by the way, why Jordan is the greatest. People look at Jordan offensively, but Jordan was insane on defense too.
Yes, he was.
And yes. People miss that. Basketball is the only sport really where you're actually playing on both sides evenly.
Yeah. One key stat for Jordan is when he was he led the league in scoring and defense player of the year in the same year.
It's insane.
I mean, who's doing that? Who's committed to that? That's why you probably never see it again.
Yeah. That's why you asked like a question.
Like LeBron, he's not built like that. I don't think LeBron could ever do that.
It's a different mindset to 40 minutes just like locked down. It's just different. That's why when you ask the question, LeBron or Jordan, to me, Jordan just on a different level. Like I think we could argue 2 through 5, and everyone will have a different 2 through 5. But yeah. One is one. Like he did his thing. It was incredible. And yeah, it was just incredible. I think the closest comp to Jordan is Gretzky.
Oh, I could vibe with that. I can see that. And it's always interesting how sports goes. I remember coming in the living room as a kid and saying, "Hey, Dad, that's this guy named Michael Jordan. I think Jordan's in his second year." Because my father at one point had wrote the Bulls off. My father moved to Chicago in 69, 70. The Bulls weren't even on TV. They were just on the radio. And so he started watching Michael Jordan. He's like, man, well, he's impressive. But he's not Dr. J. I remember he looked at me. He's not Dr. J. And this is how sports goes, you know. Gordie Howe was the man. And then Wayne Gretzky came along. And sports is just like that. Let me ask you this. Now, we talk about sports. I ask you this question. People want to say that Michael Parsons is the best edge rusher of all time, even though Lawrence Taylor was an edge rusher. People want to say that Aaron Donald is the best defensive tackle they've ever seen, even though Reggie White, who else can we name? John Randall, who went undrafted, and Warren Sapp played the defensive tackle spot. And this was and when Reggie played, other people, Goldberg, I could be blocking you, and somebody else will come cut your knees out, which is illegal in today's game. So Aaron Donald probably wouldn't even be playing right now if he played back in the day. He'd probably be hurt, something wrong with him. Literally, you could be engaged with an individual back in the day, and somebody could come cut block you.
Can I tell you the truth? I don't understand football. It's the most violent sport ever. I don't get it. I don't understand the strategy of it. I'll watch the games, red zone. I try to watch it. My head starts hurting. It's so much action in a Sunday. It's like it's literally nonstop. I don't get strategy. Reggie White, though, his Precious Metal Gems, that card that sold on.
Yeah, I saw the card in your bag. Yeah,
sick.
That's a beautiful card, man. But there are only certain people with that lens that will be like, "Oh, wow, you see that card?" Everybody else is like, "Oh man, Aaron Donald." I just don't understand it, man. Sometimes I could be here on a Sunday and I hear these commentators. I know they got to hype up the game and they got to get viewership up and they got to, especially NFL Network, they start talking about stuff sometimes. It's like, really? When they start talking about best ever or GOAT in this league today, it like blows my mind.
Are you going to? You're going to any shows coming up? You're going to be at Burbank for sure. The next show.
I'm going to be at Burbank for sure. But the Delmar show by the Union Marketplace is this coming weekend. I'll be there.
Something we did, we like lucked into it. Like we did a cigar night at National, which was like people who are in a community that came. We worked with a partner to get some space, but Lawrence Taylor ended up coming to the cigar night and smoking cigars.
That is LT. That's how he gets done.
That's LT.
There's nobody like that man walking the face of this earth, man. When it comes to playing the edge rush, he created the edge rusher. There was no edge rusher before Lawrence Taylor. And Bill Belichick just let him just roam. Do you know Lawrence Taylor used to come to games high, man? And he would
on what?
Whatever he was taking.
Whatever you needed.
Whatever he needed.
A blend.
What's that?
A blend.
A blend. And he would roam. Bill Belichick would let him roam. This is how good he was. And how awkward it is in the defense. He can line up as an end. The defense calls for him to be an end rusher. He may fall out. If he notices something about the quarterback and what he's looking and doing, he may fall back into coverage. No one knows that about Lawrence Taylor. He would come to meetings. It's known. He would come to meetings and go to sleep in the meeting. Bill Belichick will wake him up and be like, Lawrence, so you know where we're at right now? He get up and break down every play that they're going through and then go lay back down and go back to sleep.
You had some choice words about Andy Reid and Mahomes. Belichick. Where's his legacy now that Brady's gone?
It just shows. I think it shows people. See, the thing is, Belichick's still doing his thing, right? Still doing his thing. You got like this weekend, they ran for 170-something yards. They took the ball out of the third-string quarterback's hands. That's Belichick. Belichick is still going to do his thing, even though he doesn't have the talent around him. But it shows people that you still, as a great coach, because he's willing them victories right now. You have to have talent to go to the Super Bowl, to go deep in the playoffs. But Belichick right now, as a coach standing on the sideline, he'll get you 5 wins a season.
Do you think since he's in charge of coaching and talent, he purposely doesn't attract talent so he can show people that he's a better coach?
It wouldn't shock me knowing Belichick. The way I've seen him over the years, it wouldn't shock me. I don't think he probably wants a star quarterback in his system. Mac Jones kind of fits him. He can mold him, make him what he wants. He doesn't want a guy running around like Cam Newton. He took Cam Newton because that was the person at the time he could take. But he doesn't want that flashiness and airing a ball out. I don't think Belichick's looking for all that. You got to think, when Brady first started, man, he was under control. He may throw for 170 yards a game, 185 yards a game. He wasn't lighting it up.
It's true.
He was in a system, playing the system. And those teams, when he first started, they had dynamite defense. Those defenses won those Super Bowls.
It's true.
He just made sure he didn't make a mistake.
What was the There's a documentary on the Patriots, but he actually sprained his ankle. Bledsoe won the AFC Championship game 2002, and then Belichick had to decide between those two who's going to play in the Super Bowl. It was
he played Brady. True. That's why Bledsoe, man, went through deep depression, had to go to counseling. I mean, he had all kinds of problems based upon, and this is what happens, right? Like, I played ball. When I got through playing ball, Goldberg, I didn't watch ball for 3 years because I played against some guys who were on the TV.
Football or basketball?
Football. And like that, for me, that was a problem.
For
I'm
sure.
looking out here. I remember a guy named Richard Jordan played with the Detroit Lions. Played linebacker at a school. I'm looking at him. I had to turn the TV off, man. But then I had to sit down. And I don't think this is what most people do, right? If you don't live in America, I'm not a football player. If I was in Brazil or Spain or any other place in the world, nobody's saying, man, that's a football player right there. Nobody's saying that. So why have I internalized? I've themed myself. That's who I am. I know I'm more than that.
For sure.
But most I've known people who sing, people who do sports, people who do art. You start to allow that to represent who you are as a person when you're actually more than that. And then when that gets taken away from you, you can go through depression. You can go down. You can feel a certain way. And I had a resurrection of FD, you're more than that. You got to move on, man. You got a life to live. I started playing ball. I was 23 years old.
How long did it take to get to that place? I mean, you probably still have flashbacks.
No. Actually, when I watch ball, I understand the game, but I don't even think about playing ball anymore. I have my last game was in 1997. So I don't even think about I'm aware of the time that it is now. And for my children, I'm not going to live vicariously through them. For myself, I played ball, did things. I'll be there to help them, coach them, help train them, stuff like that. But I'm not going to be the parent that's on the sideline chewing the coach out because I didn't do something when I was 16.
For sure. No, what you're saying is 100% accurate. Like, there's a quote. It's most men live 2 lives, and the second one begins when they realize that.
That's right.
It's like your first life is sport, and when you lose that, mine was on a knee injury. So I tore my ACL last play, senior year at Drexel.
Okay.
You kind of were like, who are you?
That's
right? Like, my whole life I'm playing soccer. People like me because I play soccer. Now it's like, it's this whole identity crisis. And I'd be lying.
And a lot of people can't come out of that, what you just said. They'll never come out of that. And they fall into a bad place. And I played with guys. I played with a guy in high school who was a very good wide receiver. We went to a camp. He was torturing people. He ended up going to a small school. We both went to small schools together. That never sat right with him. He went to school and he wasn't named first team all conference the first year he started starting. That didn't sit right with him. He wasn't named All-American the whole time he was there, even though he's a great wide receiver. That didn't sit right with him. That ended up causing him a lot of problems. I know another guy on the team that recently just passed away, that we came in together as freshmen. He couldn't come to grips with. He didn't have the same success in college that he had in high school. And that just played its way out in his life. He started suffering from some depressed episodes in college. That kind of played out into some other thing. You know, when you go to college, man, people think it's just about the books.
Drugs, alcohol, for sure.
Yeah, drugs and alcohol. That's a whole nother side of things.
Women, it's all
everything. Everything there. Everything. Whole nother side of stuff.
And when you're an athlete, I mean, come on.
Yeah, man. I remember being in situations where I could hear my grandmother talking to me. I could hear my mom and dad say, you know, you need to get up and go home right now. Before XYZ, probably.
For sure.
You need to get up and go home. And that kind of upbringing kept me away from a lot of stuff. But there's a lot of stuff there. And if you don't pay attention to it, you can leave school dependent on something. Your life has been altered in a way that probably nobody in your family knows about yet. They may see it later, or they may never see it at all. And then, like I said, just thinking that you're something. You're a football player. You're a soccer player. I'm a basketball player. We're all more than that.
Let's say they call you. They say, "Hey, FD, I'm really in a low spot now."
Mm-hmm.
What do you tell them? What would you? What would?
Oh, I've talked to teammates. I've talked to
recommend
people that I told you about. I've talked to other people. I try to listen. When someone's really down, I played with several people that were really down. You try to listen to them before you even start giving any kind of advice. Just listen, and people will respect you for listening. And then try to ask them some questions about why they feel that way. Why do you feel that way? What in your life up until this point has told you that you're only this? Why do you feel that way? You listen to that. And then I will start talking to them about what I see. Because that may be different than how they view themselves. What talents do I see coming from you? What beauty do I see coming from you? What kind of conversations do I like having with you? And then I will allow that person to spend some time with themselves and probably come back. The people that I knew, I got in contact with their families just to let them know kind of what I'm seeing, what kind of conversation I had. Because a lot of times, man, you don't have too many connection points to try to make a change in that situation, or to try to get somebody some help, or to let their loved ones know this is what this person is going through. Because people can go through things and keep it away from every loved one that they know. Don't let them know at all.
For sure. No, respect. And I think oftentimes even your closest people, they see you as the athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the greatest gift is like today, like we're all so interconnected, but I think people feel lonelier than ever. Something you said that I really liked was like, you see them, right? Like sometimes some people just need to know that you believe in them.
That's right.
And it's funny. Like we don't do that enough for each other. So,
no, we really don't. We don't even tell people a lot of times that we know, and we've known for a long time, how we feel about them. I have some close male friends that we'll tell each other we love each other. A lot of people don't do that. It's like, I think they just gloss over it. It's not because they don't want to. It just moves. Time just moves by. And believe me, time can move by in life. Before you look up, it's 10 years have rolled by. That's what it's all about, man. We got some other comments here. Kobe said if Shaq had his work ethic, he would have been a GOAT. That's true. That is true. But Shaq also said, Big John, that he knew when he had a thoroughbred like Kobe, he didn't need to work out now.
Yeah.
And that's a bad statement to make, man. I know if I was Kobe, that would bother me. I'm in the gym busting ass. This dude's eating cheeseburgers.
He needed that though. Like Kobe was manic. Shaq, did a good interview recently. Dude, they did so much off the court too. Like Shaq feels like the best human being ever.
Oh yeah, he does a lot of work.
He does so much for people. It's crazy. Like
a lot of work.
This whole business athlete era is really cool.
Sammy says if Shaq had made his free throws, he would be a GOAT by now. You guys see Russ and Steph just loving the game. That's what it's all about. I'm glad I sold my Westbrook collection, though. Yeah, Westbrook is a whole nother conversation. I mean, I don't even know. I believe, I could be wrong. I think it's just difficult overall for Westbrook to play the way people want him to play. I don't think his mind works like that. I think he's a running, like he's always on the move kind of guy. I think that's just how he gets down. So now you want him to slow down and be a point guard and cerebral and see the court, and throw a ball over here. No, I don't think that's not how he's ever played. If you look at his stat list and you look at turnovers all the way down the line since he was a rookie, and you look at 3-point percentage, all the way, and field goal percentage, all the way down the line, every number is the same throughout his career. So you take a guy who's done this for years, and you're like, oh, well, because you don't really match LeBron. Because this is the problem. You don't really match LeBron's play. Like, you need to change what you're doing.
Realistically, Pelinka's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, and they just give him an extension. Like, it's all a little incestual with that whole organization. Like, they keep him, I think, maybe because he's Kobe's best friend, and he knows Jeannie Buss really well. And I respect all of them, but that's on the GM. Like when the Nets and the Lakers made their rosters at the beginning of last year, we came in our show, and I was like, dude, anyone who watches basketball knows this isn't going to work.
That's right.
The Nets have 3 egos. None of them are leaders. This isn't like rocket science. And this is just 3 players that are phenomenal on the Lakers, but their styles don't mesh. Like,
but do you think Pelinka's making these moves, or you think the GM is really LeBron?
who? Oh, you think LeBron's the GM?
Yeah, LeBron's the GM. Whoever he's played, he's the GM.
I don't think LeBron's the GM.
LeBron picked Westbrook.
Then he's dumber than we think he is.
Well, I actually think they wanted another point guard. I really think they wanted Damian Lillard, someone else.
Why not Buddy Hield? What they don't like about Buddy Hield?
Buddy Hield likes to shoot the ball. If you know it's about LeBron, right? This is just my observation. Isaiah Thomas, what was wrong with him? When you shoot the ball too much, you really have to go.
But that's exactly who LeBron needs to be successful. He needs 3-point shooters.
Yeah, but Buddy Hield likes to do more than that. You watch Sacramento. He likes to do way more than that.
He's on the ball a little bit too much.
He's going to sit out there and wait on that 3. He's making he's attacking the basket. He's pulling up from mid-range. But Hield wants to do it all. LeBron's not trying to play with that. He wants that guy to go stand out there. And then when I'm double team, I'm going to kick it out. You hit that 3, we're going down the court.
So he went with Westbrook. That was his choice. He's like, yo, I need someone to kick out to. So let me go kick out to AD and Westbrook.
I think it kind of morphed into they wanted Westbrook to take the ball out of LeBron's hands, stop him from being the point, bring the ball up, make plays. But they didn't realize this guy's going to shoot 46% from the field and almost last in 3-point percentage and turn the ball over. So now it doesn't work. That's why they're asking him to play better. They're not going to ask LeBron to change anything. And you got to be a certain kind of person to play around LeBron James. You got to be a certain person, Kevin Love, hell. And you have to be a certain athlete that with certain abilities to do stuff that he doesn't like to do. He doesn't want to shoot that 3 at the end of the game all the time. He wants somebody else out there to do that. He wants to drive. He wants to dunk on people. He wants to pull up for that mid-range maybe. But he's not about doing all that other stuff. And he wants somebody that's a defensive dog so he can take some defense off, get a breather.
Dude, I love how you think, man. Do people put the bronzexuals push back on you in the comments?
Oh yeah, all the time, bro.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I got people that's like, I can't believe what you're saying about Brown. And it's not just Brown. We can talk about any player. I break down about it.
Well, you're the host. I just
No, you can ask me anything. You can say, hey man, what you think about so and so? We can get into that.
You think Embiid's gonna win MVP?
I probably never. You know why? Because he's not consistent. Last year he led the league in
30 points a game.
Yeah, 30 points a game. But what was his field goal percentage?
49.9.
He's not gonna make it, baby. He's not gonna make it. He's gotta get that thing over 53, 54% if he wants to win that. And then lead the league in scoring.
Do you think he might think about the difference between 50% and 53? It's
what he needs to do, get his post game right, keep working on his footwork, and he needs a mid-range jump shot. And leave that 3 stuff. Let's leave that out there in case you're wide open. Other than that, get down in that paint and attack. And you get that, you'll get the MVP. He doesn't
I'm a Sixers fan, always, if you know how Sixers and Eagles fans, we're always critical of our team. This is the best offseason I think we've ever had as a Sixers team because we filled in holes with what we need. And that's grit, leadership, toughness. Right? So you bring in PJ Tucker.
I love that. I love PJ Tucker.
3 and D, just an awesome culture guy. He already knows James Harden. He already knows Morey.
Yeah.
The Anthony Melton, a guy that knows his role, can play a little on the ball, and he's like an 8th, 9th guy. He just did that with the Grizz. Mm-hmm. And then you bring in Trez, who say what you want, man. Trez puts nice, numbers anywhere he goes.
I was just watching the other night. I like him a lot.
And now, the biggest thing, Embiid's a little soft. Let's be real. Embiid is a little bit. Yeah. Now you bring in 3 guys that are tough as nails. Now you could let him be.
But also, what I like about Embiid, you see, he's lost weight. You see, he lost weight. He's in much better shape.
Well, I love hearing that.
I've always wanted to see that in him. I wanted him to come in the season like that. I think he could do so much more if he probably dropped 20, 25 pounds. Looks like he's done that.
Cool. Good.
I think that's going to be nice for him this year. I think when guys realize when you start having lower extremity issues, you got to drop weight. I wish CC Sabathia would have realized that. Well, I mean, he had other stuff going on.
He was drinking. He was on the bottom.
Drinking. His father, saw stuff was bad. But if he could have got that right early, man, he's legendary. If David Wells could have got that right, he's a legend.
You know what's cool? As you get older, you realize not everyone even wants to be a legend.
No, they don't. No, they have no interest. If you've been around athletes, you've been around a lot of athletes, they're basically playing off skill. They're just playing off ability. They don't want all that. You want to hit the gym all the time, man? You want to live? You want to shoot shots? You want to do this stuff like Steph's doing? Shooting 500 shots a day and running the court to exhaustion and still shooting? Nah, man.
You know who comes to mind?
I the club by 9.
You know who comes to mind? Boogie Cousins.
A prime example.
Just incredible.
Who at one point was the best power forward in basketball. And when he was with New Orleans, he was out playing Anthony Davis.
It's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, a lot of sleepless nights. Not everyone's cut for it. And honestly, I don't blame them sometimes. Like, I see it. Like, you have to be a special breed to do it. And that's why when you see all of these pieces come together, when you have, like, innate talent, a chip on your shoulder, and handle pressure, you're like, Jordan.
That's rare, bro.
You have 2 of the pieces. You're Brady. Brady had no talent. Yeah. I mean, talent.
Very inconsistent. At Michigan, it's very inconsistent.
He's just a frail dude. Jordan. I mean, hands that are the size of like.
Do you know Greasy walked on the team in Michigan and took Brady's spot?
I heard that. I heard it. Bob or Brian? I can't remember the name. Bob is the dad, I guess.
Bob Greasy's father, Brian Greasy's son. So we got some shout outs here. April, my girlfriend, says, "What's up, Dad? What's up, April? Junior. Junior is my son." And then Goldberg, Junior wants you to say to you, "What's up?"
What's up, Junior?
Are you getting some love?
I'm sure I'm going to see them at the show sometime, right? Junior comes to the shows with you.
Yeah, Junior comes to the shows. What shows do you come to in California?
Can I tell you the truth? Most people don't know this. I'm kind of an introvert. Like, so like to get out and like 3-4 days.
Let's be for real. Most of the hobby is introverted. It's all good, bro.
Respect. Some of them, I'm like, how are these guys at every show, every weekend? Like Sasha Talman, I'm like, the dude is everywhere. Respect. Like,
Sasha's on the move, man.
He's on the move.
Yeah.
We're gonna be in Chantilly in Virginia in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Definitely going to Burbank. I messed up that I didn't go to that one.
All right. I know we're gonna have some more East Coast love at Burbank for the second.
Well, I mean, dude, when you put on a show from the heart, it just hits different, you know?
Yeah. You'll enjoy that, bro. We'll link up there, but you're gonna enjoy that. It was a nice show. Delmar is gonna be a nice show.
Union guys.
Yeah, they're about to make something happen, man. Let me see some other comments here. Reggie White. This is Michael Ham. Michael Ham is a big supporter. Reggie White was the best due to he could play anywhere on the line. Yeah, he played end, tackle, nose guard, whatever, and impact the offensive line. Warren Sapp in his prime, you had to put 2 guys on him. I just don't understand how I'm still going to say this till the cows come home. And you're going to say Aaron Donald's just dominating over these guys? That's not going to happen. And before Lawrence Taylor, Deacon Jones was an edge rusher. So I just don't. I respect the history of the game. I know the game has changed, but I know if ESPN said, "Man, I don't know, Aaron Donald is okay, but what about Warren Sapp and Reggie White?" Most people watching today be like, "Who's
click?"
White? Yeah, who's
Shut
Reggie?
Up. Just tell me about Aaron Donald. No, dude, you and Cage are gonna nerd out. Cage's dad actually, like back in the 60s or maybe 70s, played for the Giants, and it was like a part-time league.
Okay.
So Cage comes off like kind of like a jokester, but he's actually like his history knowledge of the hobby and sports is incredible.
That's good. That's good.
You're gonna nerd out with him on all these like.
I saw him briefly. I was far away. I saw him briefly at the Mint. He was walking around. I didn't get a chance to talk to him. It'd be cool to catch up with him. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Michael Strahan was cool. You can't forget players like John Randall. Went undrafted, out here running. Big John says, do you have any interest in the MLB postseason?
None.
I'm almost right there with you. I catch up on what's happening. Like I'm interested in what the Padres and the Dodgers are about to do.
This is a cool card.
Oh yeah, man.
Star Rubies, Michael Strahan, like $80. Not
hard
bad.
card to find. That's a hard card to find.
It's a hard card to find, right? Not a bad buy for like $75, $80.
Yeah, very hard to find. And that's another individual, man. His story is pretty similar to Kobe's. Followed in the military, lived overseas a lot of his childhood. That's why when he wanted to play college football, there was really no film on him doing anything. So he went to Texas Southern, and then he came out, went to the pros. I remember when he wasn't even starting. He was kind of coming into games. He was a bigger guy. He just was physically much bigger. And then Strahan started chiseling his body down and using that length, the long arms and stuff here, just causing all kind of problems. And then that year he broke the sack record with Brett Favre. Strahan just went to a different level.
You mean Yura was the other guy next to him?
Who was that?
They had those like two interior linemen. But I want to say something else about you.
What's up?
You are a historian, man. You love learning stories. Why do you love learning other people's stories so much?
It tells me about them. It tells me about it. I learn people's stories too. I get deep into even collecting cards. Like I want to know what makes this person operate. How do they go about making decisions? What drives them? And that'll let me know more about them. But I just respect, like to me, when people in my family pass away, man, I go visit graves and clean graves and make sure my people are straight. I just get into what makes a person tick, what was their story, because we all have something different, and what did they overcome. People here know, like, I can only watch so much sci-fi and fantasy. I got to get into some biops, man. I got to see how this person overcame this. And then I'll do some research to find out if the story that was told in that movie is actually true and what really happened. That's really what I want to know. And I don't forget people. I remember what people have done here and there, different people I've seen play over time, kind of what their contribution was to different championships. Because we all in the hobby talk about certain people, but there are certain players that were on certain teams that if they were not there, it's like Otis Anderson with the New York Giants. If he wasn't on that team doing what he did, what would the Giants have been? But people are not going to talk about him too much. They're going to talk about other players that were on that team. And that's how most championships are won. We talk about Mahomes, but I'm telling you, with Cheetah gone, he's going to have to earn his stripes.
One of my favorite questions on our podcast, this is like how our audience knows me, is I always like to ask the origin story with whatever guest we have on, because before like you could know what they're doing now, you got to know kind of where they came from to give you context. So, dude, I love that. And one of the things that's not talked about in the hobby, I think enough, like there's all these like other things, but just like I think if you polled the hobby, the collectors are actually history buffs.
I agree with that.
And there's not enough like talking about that because history's super cool, man. History's super cool, and I think there's a part of us that loves it.
Yep. And then I also look at like professional athletes. What do they do in their free time? If I can find out what they do in their free time, it tells me a lot about them. Because a lot of these guys have a lot of time that they can burn in many different ways.
Ben Simmons plays video games in all his time during the season and off.
I would hope he would take that time, slice it in half, and go work on his jump shot.
Not happening. That's why we kicked him out of the city. Go play for the Nets.
And let me say this.
He's got to have a great game.
I know there's a lot of Zion fans out there. I know there's probably a lot of Zion fans in this community right now listening to us. I've watched almost I'm focusing on Zion. There's several players. Jalen with Houston, a few other players. I'm focusing on.
Jalen Green.
Yeah, Cunningham, Kate Cunningham with the Pistons. I'm focusing. I'm going to find out who these guys are. But when I look at Zion, right, I saw him the other day. I haven't seen a jump shot yet in a preseason game. And I'm watching every game, all game long, just see what he's going to do. Even when he goes to the bench, I'm still watching.
He's got a quick first step. He's got a very quick first step.
Yeah. But what happens when he gets older and that step gets slower? But I saw him in game number 2 preseason, right? He was shooting a jump shot. He was like working on a drill, and he was shooting probably a 12-foot jump shot, and it didn't look natural, and he did not look confident. And I never saw that in the game.
So my come up in the hobby was I got in 2019, but like real, you know, like when you get in and then you get in, it's like 2 different points. Like first you buy like 3 cards, you're like, okay, these are cool, and you're like, let me buy a 4th. But like at this point, I was like, dude, Zion was a monster at Duke. He has a meniscus injury, and I bought like 100 Prism Zion base cards. And remember, he came back versus the Spurs, his first game back, and he made 4 threes.
Just, I remember that. Pop.
Brick flat, and it went in. Best investment I've ever made. It was I bought them about a month before, and then they went berserk.
And they went straight.
They went nuts, and then COVID hit, and I'm like, oh, should I have sold? Because remember this? It was like Zion came back, then they were doing like that on game, off game. Are they going to make the playoffs? And then Rudy Gobert touched the mic. COVID.
Yeah, remember that? Custom mic, rub the tables down, everything. He sick, Donovan Mitchell sick. That probably was the start of them breaking up.
You know what my family said? My
What's
parents had a trip to Mexico planned. We have like a cafe. I was going to come home to Philly to watch it and manage it. Everything, the whole country closed down. They're like, yo, come join us in Mexico. So COVID, I spent in Mexico for years.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Best decision I've ever made. We got so much.
I would think that would be a great decision.
Yeah.
We got 2 wonderful here. FD, how are you tonight, sir? Hope all is well with you, Golden State fans. My prediction is going to be priced at the end of the regular season. Cash that check. What does that mean, 2 wonderful? Tell me
what's the prediction?
Yeah, what's the prediction? We can't wait till the end of the season. Tell me what that is.
My prediction is Sixers Bucks Eastern Conference Finals. Embiid's the MVP. Giannis is still the best player. And I got Warriors, and I don't have the other team in the West yet. The West is open. It could be the Nuggets. You got Jamal Murray coming back, but it's so unknown. Like, what's Michael Porter Jr. going to be? What's Murray going to be? Jokic is incredible. Here's a fun question. You'd appreciate this. You're a GM. You're starting a team today. Do you take Luka or do you take Jokic?
How old is Jokic?
28. 27. Watch this. FD's going to tell Jokic to get in shape. That's FD tells everyone, get in shape.
Yeah, get in shape. I'll probably take Jokic. People don't think I'm crazy.
I said Jokic too. People thought I was crazy.
I just think Luka, I just want to, I don't know. I just look at him and I think, I just got to see that guy this year. I mean, last year he was hurt several times. I just want to see, like, where's he at physically? He walks like his back is killing him. He walks around like he is uncomfortable all the time. And like, so what's up, man? But this guy's been playing basketball since he was 13 years old.
It's true. Pro basketball.
Yeah, pro basketball against grown men. So that's always my thought when someone says Luka, what's the wear and tear in his body? Like, what's going on with him? Because he never looks, even though he's so fluid and he knows when to go fast and then when to slow down before he shoots. He does all this stuff. What's the wear and tear in his body? So that's why I asked how old is Jokic, because I know how old Luka is, but what's his real body age?
Man, it's cool when you talk to people who've played sports and then they get it. Because I said that I was arguing with like a little kid. By the way, the kids and they have like these like Luka NTs, and they're like,
"Oh yeah, man."
I'm like, what am I even doing arguing with this kid? He's like,
really rolling. Yeah.
But like he's he's put his money where his mouth is. Well, I'm not going to talk about. He's not going to sell his NT. But I was like, think about it. At 28, he's already 13, 14 years into professional league.
That's right.
And he's not a small dude. Like he's like, I bet if you saw LeBron's, like he's probably similar size and stature to LeBron. LeBron's actually took care of his body.
Yeah, LeBron has. LeBron is the definition of taking care of his body. LeBron stays in shape. His diet has to be impeccable. I've never seen him, even going back to high school, I used to watch him. I've never seen him out of shape or gasping for air. I've never seen that. And you'll see some players that are like, their conditioning could be better. You never question that about LeBron.
Well, when you play and you see athletes, you just remember those guys that were gym rats. And you know this. You remember every summer you had those guys who tell you next year is going to be the year. I remember these athletes you play with. Every year next year is their year.
Mm-hmm.
But what you realize is it's different. Potential is different from reality. And in the sense, like, it takes 90 days realistically to change a habit or change behavior. So like we say, this guy needs to get in shape. That's like the hardest thing you could ask someone because yes, it's their pro job, all that stuff, but adding habits into your life is a very difficult process.
And it's not something that I would suggest doing during the season. Like you're going to flip your diet around and you got 5 games in the next 8 days.
No shot.
That's not happening. I don't care what you're eating. You probably still need to stay on that to keep you going because what an NBA players running? Probably 4,000, 5,000 calories in a game.
Dude, calories and metabolism is an interesting thing. I'm always the one that was out of shape. I never could get in shape, so I was always just a little bit overweight. And everyone was like, Andrew, you could get to that next level if it was for your fitness. Some people just like talent, man. Like some people are just athletic and like hard work only goes so far. And that's a limiting belief, but talent matters. Talent really does.
Especially when you get to the pro level. I mean, I ran 5'7", 5'8" in the 40. If I was 2 inches taller,
if I was a baller,
that's right, I could run that and be on the team, be on the NFL team. But if you're 2 inches shorter, you better be the distance that you need to run and finish at is it probably about 6 inches. Then I'm an NFL lineman, and the average person they don't know that. They don't know.
FD, offense or defense for you?
I play offensive line. In college, I played right guard. So I used to pattern my game after Nate Newton. Remember Nate Newton, Dallas Cowboys?
Are you a Cowboys fan?
No, I'm a Nate Newton fan. Nobody played guard like Nate Newton.
No? I don't know who that is.
Man. Oh, so Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman.
I know those guys.
Nate
I don't know the guard. Like I obviously know the football. I don't like Nate Newton.
That's all good. Nate Newton is the right guard. Nate Newton. So when the Pittsburgh Steelers played the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, you ever heard of a player called Greg Lloyd?
You would have to watch the games.
Okay, Greg Lloyd was an end rusher like Michael Parsons today, right? Greg Lloyd was an end rusher. They had Nate Newton, man, pulling and destroying Greg Lloyd. Play after play after play. And Greg Lloyd at the time was like all pro, supposed to be the man. Nate Newton was pulling in the Super Bowl and rearranging this dude's life.
FD, I gotta tell you, man, you would be that dude. You know those chess players in the park that just take everybody's money? Do you play chess?
Yes, I do.
You do. We should play chess.
Love chess.
We should play chess sometime. So I grew up, my best sport was chess growing up from the age of 5 to 10.
Okay.
So like
that already tells me something about you.
USSR, it's like chess is like what you teach kids.
Yeah.
And my grandpa, we would always travel to tournaments, chess. So I'd love to play you sometime. It's such a good game, man.
We can do it virtually, man. We can find a way to do it virtually. Yeah, I love that.
Which, by the way, like I always think about like what Andrew will do after his like business career. I always do this. I would love to set up after school programs to help all schools, but like especially impoverished schools with the chess program. That'd be great. And I think it's literally the thing that helps because a lot of people in life don't understand cause effect.
They don't.
Right? And chess teaches you if I do this, then this could happen. If I do this, then and being able to just think through that. It's cheap. It's like $5 a board. You could set it up anywhere. There's no equipment. I think it would give kids such an advantage on life.
I started playing chess in 7th grade. And we used to play against each other. Like when people went to recess, we would stick around in class and play chess. And there was several of us who became pretty good. I mean, I don't know how good, but we would challenge each other. I believe that helps young people, older people our age out, but definitely younger people starting to understand some things. And I think it helps to increase even general testing scores.
For sure.
How you think about stuff. That'd be great to do, man.
Now we have a partner.
Yeah, I'll definitely get in it with you. I would love to do that. Love What You Collect says, Roland, appreciate you being here. Another Philly person in the house.
Yep.
That's right. Sports Card Show. Good evening, FD. Good to see and listen to you and Andrew. Cheers. Good to have you here,
Love
Zay.
What You Collect. I believe she has a daughter, right? At Iverson, if I could.
Philly.
Cool. Yeah, I remember.
Goes to the Philly show, goes to New York shows. Really big on the East Coast. Really a voice in the hobby. Does a lot of stuff, man. Love What You Collect she's legit.
FD, let me ask you. So we didn't even touch on this.
What's up?
What are some things that annoy you, frustrate you in the hobby? Some things that if you were hobby Commissioner Goodell FD of the hobby, what would you change? What would you want to see more of? Maybe
we have to engage young people. We got to find ways to really engage young people. As we talk, car prices are probably, as far as a box, things like that, are kind of going up. We've seen here in the last couple of weeks that some places are starting to liquidate cars. Car prices are dropping by the box, things like that. We have also seen that some of these rookies drive people buying boxes and trying to break them and do things. These rookie classes have not been great. So that has affected cars in general. But we got to find a way that if I'm looking at a card, I got a few in front of me, that like this Chad Johnson card can get in the kids' hands. And they don't have to pay so much to open a box, and they can get some players that they like. And how does that happen? And then how do we educate them on cars? About how to take care of your card, how to, before you even start grading stuff. That's why I tell people all the time that, to me, people say base cards are trash. But I think base cards are a good way for people to understand how to take care of your card, how to put your card in a top loader, what do I need to do with it, how to put it in a penny sleeve, and even what is the value of that card. And if I wanted to trade it with, I'll see Andrew at school, and I want to trade him some cards, what's the value of his cards? And then let's start talking about that. It's a good training ground. We need more of that. We need no less shadiness by some small percentage of the people that are so-called in the hobby, with new people joining the hobby, or with young people in the hobby. I mean, we hear stories all the time about someone trying to trade a $1,000 card from a 12-year-old and let them know that an $80 card is worth the same. We need less of that. When we come to shows, right, I would just love to see, and I think we're getting better at that. I've seen more and more at shows where those who are selling are customer service oriented and want to engage with people who are at the show, want to talk to them, want to go through things. If you have your cars priced, because I went to a show, priced a few cars, I know it's things can change, right? So even if you have your cars priced or not, be willing to negotiate, talk about stuff. One of my biggest pet peeves probably is I go to a show, I see a car I'm interested in, I talk to the person about the value of it, and they can't tell me where they got the comp from. And we get down to it, right? I can talk enough to know it's a made-up number. You probably took what you thought the price of the card is, you added your personal buffer, and then vagueness comes into the conversation. You can't tell me how you got to that number. Like, that's the kind of stuff I'm just like, doesn't make sense to me. But then that leads me to go to the table that people I have a relationship with. I know they don't operate like that. And then I want to buy cards from them and negotiate deals with them.
It's interesting. In a good market, like when prices are going up or a lot or a little, it's easier to make deals because you're in positive equity, right? It's hard for people. People don't want to cut losses, right? Mm-hmm. And it kind of stalls out the market when people tell Cage the Raiders think. It's cool. I get to see these comments. You tell Cage the Raiders think.
Yeah. Ray's doing pretty well tonight. See what's up. Go ahead.
When people bought a card for 300 and now it's really the comp, like you said, is 150, it's hard for them to cut the tie.
Yeah, right? But let me ask you this, Goldberg. Why put the $300 card on the table?
It's your inventory. It's all you got because you need to sell that card to go buy other stuff. What happened is when
I don't think you can lean on that. I'm gonna get a person. I'm gonna put a fish. I'm gonna put a hook in the water.
Of course.
And I'm gonna get a person walking by who doesn't know this is a $300 card that went down.
Of course.
And then that person wants to pay $350. Or that person wants to pay $400. And then I'm gonna let this thing ride. I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Is it ethical? No. Is it right? No. Does it happen? Yes.
Oh, it happens a lot.
And
what always gets me is when people think that's about to happen, and then you start talking to them and they realize I can't run that game right now. That's not gonna work on this person.
What killed that game is our phones, right? When we didn't have internet, people were like, "What do? I have to use my brain to comp."
Yeah.
But internet is like, "What's the comp?" But also, let me ask you this. So I run a show on Whatnot for our community once a week. We do like a Sunday NFL show where Cage gives us prop picks. But so I'd buy cards on PWCC, and I'd get a card that, let's say, the 3 comps before that were 1,900 and 950, and I got
how long away are the dates? What are the dates looking like?
I'll give you an example of a card. Lonzo Kaboom PSA 10, his rookie card. Okay, it's not a card that comes up often. Pop 16, maybe every 1 or 2 months you see a card.
What is that, a $1,500 card now? No, that's a $2,500 card now.
600.
Lonzo. Oh, Lonzo. You didn't say Melo. Okay.
Lonzo Kaboom. Kaboom.
Go ahead.
The point is, when I buy that card, even if it went less than the last 3 comps, I now set the new comp. So did I get a good deal, or is that Lonzo card now $600? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I don't think comps are the whole story. They're a part of the story, where it's like there needs to be more to the equation than just this.
I agree with that. But I will say this. I say this all the time. I say this at shows, at people's tables. I don't buy a house unless I know what a house is selling for in the community. I don't buy a car unless I've checked Kelly Blue Book. I know used before I walk in, Goldberg. I know new before I walk in. Yeah, I'm not going to buy a car. No one's shocking me today about what the price of this car should be. I can walk up on a lot and know if I saw a value or if it's overcharged. I'm not buying pretty much anything, man. I research TVs. I'm not buying anything until I know what the market value is, what are the options on it, everything else. I get to almost what we say the gnat's ass of detail. So when I come up and look at a card, comps aren't everything, but let's be in a ballpark. I've overpaid for a card.
Right.
That I think this is a rare card. The pop is low. The number on the card is low. It's an on card auto. It's an actual piece of jersey. I may overpay for that. But how much am I about to overpay?
Right.
Are we talking about $1,000 card? Now the car is $3,000. I've seen that.
Fair. And something, because I talked to a lot of people about it. I was thinking about comps. Talked to the card ladder guys. Asked them, what do they think? Like, you see a comp. You guys are in charge of comps. Like, did I get a good deal, or is this what it's worth? And something they said to consider. We asked them on our show is like, you as the dealer go and do research, not just on what that card sold for, but what other cards are available for on other platforms. So you could also say, hey, this last card sold for $700, but the cheapest available is $2,000 on eBay and $1,800 on PWC.
I'll tell you this. There are some sellers on Instagram and other places I bumped into, even some people at their tables. They have their cards marked like that. Just like what you just said. They tell me the price of where it sold recently and what is marked at right now for a sale with 20 hours left with 56 bids in. Now, you give me that level of detail, man, I'll work with you. But how many people are doing that?
No one is. I mean, very few. Very, very few.
And I'm talking about all ages. I know some people that are younger in age. Kelsey just went in. I know some people that are young in age that do that. I know some people who are much older that do that. But that level of detail, that lets me know you're for real,
man. Patrick Mahomes sucks. 3 touchdowns, 225 yards without the cheetah. No big deal. Sorry. So this is the competitive.
That's all good. Just wait till they're not playing the Raiders.
Just wait till they're not playing the Raiders.
Wait till they're not playing the Raiders. When the game is on, who are they playing next week?
So let's have a gentleman's bet. Next week they play the Bills.
Okay, that's a good
revenge game for the Bills.
A good defense. That's a good team with a good defense. Okay,
you got the Bills.
What's the gentleman's bet? Oh yeah,
I think all right, gentleman's bet. We'll call it a $50 slab.
Okay, it's all good with me.
My man, who's your guy? Who do you collect?
In football, I'm just all Tom Brady. Man.
You're all-time Brady. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Tom Brady is probably of modern day people. I would say Mahomes is someone that you cannot pass over. Josh Allen is getting there. I still got to see Josh Allen in the game that matters. Next week could be a preliminary test, but he's got to show that he can make the throws in a game that matters. I still think their offense, they don't have a good running back. They don't have an excellent tight end. The Bills, I think when it comes down to a game that matters, that's going to affect him.
All right, so I got a Brady card coming in. There's a few for $50. I'll send you pictures. Cool. Okay. And if you so here's the bet. If the Chiefs win, you send me a $50 card, and you have to do. Could you put on Two Wonderfuls? Comment on the. We need a video of FD doing the gritty. I
already said this. So Golden State's playing Memphis Christmas Day.
Yes.
John Morant was talking this yin yang about how they're going to do the gritty when they win, and I already told people that I'm going to do the gritty all over Instagram and probably put something up on YouTube. Any way we want to do it, I can even send you something, man. I will be doing the gritty on Christmas Day when Golden State beats Memphis.
Amazing. We'll do a collab post. Instagram loves those. They push those to the top.
Too wonderful. I'm already on this, man. Gritty's over.
He pushed it. He conveniently pushed it to Christmas Day.
Well, we got to get some excitement building up. It's true. 15 days before we start getting it, man. Henry says, "Love you two, linking up. Keep up the great content, both of you. Yeah, this has been fun. Andrew, I know your Philly team is cooking as well. You'll look like the class of the division, but it's good to see my team finally playing good ball. What do you think about the Phillies, man?
I think they're talking about the Eagles.
Oh, are they?
You know what? I'm going to take a moment. To celebrate because the Phillies are just won that whatever it's called.
The best of something.
Best of three. So I have a theory that baseball is going to die in 20 years, and I got skewered, like destroyed. But it was a hot take. If they don't change the league.
Well, viewership is down. Attendance is down. Baseball is what, the third best, most viewed sport in America? Third or fourth? Used to be number one when I was a kid.
Remember I talked about Gary and marketing and stuff like that? You got to market. Marketing is everything. You could have a great product, but if no one knows about it. So anyway.
Well, next year they're going to there's a clock on the pitcher. And if you call time as a batter, you can't step out and call time again. So they're trying to do things to speed up the game, but the game is not about speed.
That's fixing the product, and I think it's fine. I don't think the product is broken. I think their marketing is broken. So with baseball, think about how the youth and the young kids, they watch basketball with like Hoops Nation and little clips that show up all over as the games are going. Baseball cut that off. They said no one else has the rights to clip content. It's like part of their deal. So that's why you don't see, like the Hoops Nation accounts or NBA Never Stops or NBA In Depth, all these clips as the game is going on. Ja just dunked a minute ago, and you see it on every single Instagram page. That's your free marketing. Why would you turn that off?
Because you are out of touch with what's going on. Those who are making that decision, do they have an Instagram account? Are they on TikTok?
Oh, MLB is, but Buster Scher from he's like a card collector. He's the one that started Hoops Nation, and it's a 1 million follower account, but probably even more than that. And they start by just putting out NBA content, clips, videos, all that stuff. And it's good. That's why you see the NBA growing. And same with the NFL.
You would think baseball, you're not hiding behind a helmet. So you would think you would be able to take these players and put them in front of people very easily. And they can't get that done. Well, I mean, these are the things that technology sometimes can make something very archaic very quickly. And if you don't respond, I mean, NFL has its flaws, but they still show people, market their great players. So the youth doesn't watch baseball. It's true.
I want to do a giveaway for your community. So at National, I don't know if you guys remember, there was like those white sparkle packs that if you could attend like the Panini VIP party or whatever, So we spoke to Panini like a month ago, and we're like, hey, we might do another cigar night coming around. Would you guys be able to send us some codes? We'll give them away to people. So I have 3 of these, 3 codes on the back. You'll see there's codes. The first 3 people to follow Lucas Tiger, Luke, you'll do the Luca Tiger LeBron podcast, and you obviously are following Roland FD. First 3 people to DM Roland FD that listen to this video will get a White Sparkle giveaway code.
We'll pump this up. I appreciate that, Goldberg.
Dude, they deserve it. They're your loyal listeners. You always got to reward the people that support you.
I agree totally. Thank you very much for that. We'll pump this up and get it out to people so they know about it, and then I'll let you know what I'm saying. Thank you for that.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
It was from afar. I know I don't think we ever really interacted before this. I was like, I got a good vibe about this guy.
No, I've been thinking of hitting you up. There are certain people on a list that I keep in my mind that I've been thinking about hitting up for a while. You and Cage were on that list. We've talked about, I'm telling you the truth, man. We've talked here. My girlfriend is like, you need to hit these guys up. Because she'll watch content just to see like who she thinks I vibe with well and how the conversation might go. And we've talked about this is October. So we probably started talking to you probably back in April, May. And she watches shows all the time. Even when I'm at work, she'll hit me with something like, you need to watch this. That's how it works.
She collects as well?
No. She helps big time with the content and with the channel. No, she's never collected anything, but she supports me in what I do. I talk to her about strategy sometimes on things I'm making a play at. So let me tell you this. So in our last episode, I rolled the dice, right? I want to see what you think of this.
I got dice right here.
I'm fearless, right? So I in 2003, I pulled a LeBron James Topps Chrome, several cards. Boxes back then were like $350, $400. That was very expensive at the time, Goldberg. Boxes now, 15 grand, 20 grand.
Exquisite was like $500, I heard.
Yeah, that was crazy at the time.
Right.
We talking about most boxes were $75, $100, maybe $125. So when you went up that much, it was bananas. So I pulled several Topps Chromes. One, they were in storage for years. Pulled them out. One looked pretty good. Got it graded. Came back a PSA 10. That card, I think Jeff Wilson just put something out talking about that card as well as others. He said it could possibly be a long-term hold. He thinks the card may go back up in value. That card kind of scares me because it has a pop of about 2,200. It's not numbered. It's been through a cycle. I went to a show, the last Burbank show. Tried to move a 9.5 that I had that I bought LeBron's rookie year with the grades on the back, old school BGS. People didn't want to touch the card, man. They didn't want to liquidate the card. They didn't want to trade that card for something else. Started letting me know something about the card. So then I decided I'm gonna move this card. I got an offer from someone of 2 National Treasure James Wiseman cards, 1 out of 99, 1 out of 75, ungraded, both on card auto swatches of jersey, maybe from a player anywhere, but it's a swatch of jersey. Right? So I decided to trade that LeBron card for both of those cards with cash on top.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those cards were $5,500 in total together. I thought that was a great deal with cash on top. So we made an episode talked about that. In the comments, some people are like, "Man, you crazy." But in my mind, I'm thinking about the things that I just walked through. I've held on to this car for 20-some years. I came in on it on a pretty low buy-in.
For sure.
Let me try to maximize this value. The car is creeping back up because at one point it got down to $6,500. Now it's back up to $8,250 or $8,500. So it's creeping. But is that car going to be $50,000 again? I don't know.
Probably not. You could always buy that card back in, and it just depends on your risk reward, right?
Yeah,
like
I agree with that. This is what I'm talking about. How risk averse are you? And when do you say, you know what, I'm gonna make a play and see what happens? So that was my play.
I like it. No, I mean,
I knew you would. Because
you're not going to hold the Wiseman. No, in 10 years, we're gonna look back and be like, these player worn are absurd. It's a joke that they can't get game worn jerseys. But short term, you're like, dude, this guy could be something, and he's in a great spot to succeed. And you're basically getting LeBron's base card. That's not a collector card. That's not an end destination card. It was an amazing card pumped by a few influencers that caught a wave. Should you have sold it for 30? Maybe. We can't look back.
35, but yeah, you can't go back in time. So you got to make the play with what you got now.
You'll get back into that card anytime, any moment you can buy it.
That's exactly what I think too. If I really wanted that card. Now, if we were talking about a BGS 10, if we were talking about a refractor 9.5 or a PSA 10, that's a totally different conversation. But we're talking about base level top chrome.
Cage bought a refractor 10, BGS 10.
That's a real card. That's a card.
That's a card.
That's a card, bro.
Yeah. I like the play. I have something for Dex Flow cards. He says he's a Goldberg collector. Give me a sec. I think I got something.
At Delmar, we need Goldberg to blindside FD with a spear through a dealer's table. That would be must see TV. What is that, Dex Flow?
So Dex Flow. When I'm moved back from Mexico, back here in Florida, Boca, near SGC, we do group subs, and we did like a little consignment on whatnot. But then I was like, this is too much effort. So someone sent us this. This is an autographed Goldberg card, or no, photo. Dex Flow, I'll ship this to you. I have no use for this. I think you'd appreciate it. So I think he said he said he's a huge Goldberg fan.
Yeah,
so
huge Goldberg.
He could have this. Just DM us, and I'll ship this out to you.
Hit him up, Dex Flow. He'll take care of you. Your Ross voice. Big John said he'd like to do man because it's calculated. I'm telling you, man. There's some people though, which always cracks me up. It's like very adamant that man, you just effed yourself.
How so? Like how?
I don't know.
Like you.
I want people out there to know. I'm not when it comes to cards, and people in my family know this. I'm just going to do this. Man, I've looked at stuff, thought about stuff, looked at values of cards. I've tracked that Topps Chrome thing for a year and a half.
Yeah. And you could get back into it. Like people need to realize you could get back into that card where Wiseman is a gamble.
Yeah, gamble's a risk.
But you're like, I know basketball. I watch basketball. I know this Warriors team. I see that if he does well, like if he comes out and he's 20 points a game or 18 points a game, whatever, and doing things the first half of the season, the hobby will react. Yeah.
Last night he had 13 points, 13 minutes, 6 rebounds, went 5 for 7 shooting. Preseason game.
Yeah.
But at least he's active. Shows what I'm looking at him now is his ability to create out of the post. He showed last night a few moves out of the post. And what you'll see from Wiseman, I always call him like Bambi, right? Because you'll see him. You see like a deer first couple of steps, right? They're all over the place. So you'll see him do something. You're like, man, that's different. Then you'll see him go back to being like a rookie second year player. Now when he starts tightening that up, because I've seen Tim Duncan go through that, I saw Shaq go through that, I've seen other big men go through that. When he starts tightening that up, his post moves are right. He can shoot the three. Got a mid-range. He take the ball to the cup. He can dunk them. When he starts tightening all that up, then you'll see something. I don't think you'll probably see something out of this guy on a consistent level like that. This year, if he has a double-double guy, he's successful. If he's 10-10, he's successful.
That's a huge year for him.
That's the bomb. But when he's just turned 21 in March. When he turns 25 is when we need to be really seeing something.
2 NTs for 5,500.
Yep.
So I don't know the NT market as well as you do. Like that's cheap compared to like some other.
That's cheap.
Cool. Because like, what's like a Scotty Barnes of that?
Oh shoot, one Scotty Barnes could be 4 Gs. Scotty Barnes is well thought of in the hobby right now.
Okay, I mean
Scotty Barnes, I think is going to be a pretty decent player.
Pretty decent player. Tracy McGrady's a really good player, and no one gives an F about Tracy McGrady.
Well, you know how this goes. Like, there's hype until you solidify who you are. You know how that goes. So a lot of people are hyped, but Tracy McGrady is the ship has sailed. We know what he did. Scotty Barnes, we don't really know.
Who do you know? Like, how many people collect Dirk? Dirk has like the 10th most.
I have an idea about some things.
You got ideas about a lot of things.
International players. What car prices are really high for an international player?
Luka is the only one. You're right.
That's it. I mean, Giannis has risen. Jokic has risen. There's no one like Luka. And then you look back at Dirk. I even go like to Ichiro. Why aren't Ichiro's cars more expensive? I don't know. But Dirk gets no love. 30,000 career points.
Insane.
It's like whatever. One championship over the big three. Whatever.
That championship, man.
They had a squad.
That Mavs team, man. Michael Finley, Sean Marion, Matrix. Jason Kidd was on that team, right?
Yep, Jason Kidd had come back. Yep.
Dirk, oh man, Jason Terry,
Tyson Chandler.
What a team! What a weird team.
The Jet was on that team. They had some talent on that team. But if you on paper, if you looked at them, they're not beating LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh.
What a team! Like kind of like all-star veterans at the tail end of their career. And who was it? Rick Carlisle was the coach. Was it Rick Carlisle?
I think it was Rick Carlisle. I think it was.
And was it the year before, year after, when the 8th seed Warriors with Baron Davis beat the Mavs? Remember that?
Mm-hmm. I remember that. I remember that. Two wonderful says, gotta love the American mentality. We want everything new wife, new car, new job, new house, new mistress.
It sounds like they're speaking for themselves and enjoy.
Sounds like two wonderful.
Live your dream.
Hero 3, that Mavericks team had no business in the playoffs. Their character team over some beast to get that ring. But they won that ring. LA Hobbyist says LeBron Top's Chrome base is an awesome reusable play, in my opinion. Yeah. What is SNL? Rising needs SNL. What is SNL? What is that, Hero 3? I never heard of that.
We're doing this fun thing. I don't even know how it's going to work, but we added Cajun Cardboard to our network, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Our goal, because we were like, Monday Night Football, but we want to be the ESPN of hobby and help other people start their show, because there's so many amazing people who know the hobby, but they have never started a podcast. They want to, but they don't want to do the tech. So we're like, hey, if you need help with that, we'd be happy to do so. So tonight, honestly, like 10 minutes here, we're doing like this snake draft with 6 or 5 other people just before the NBA season. Going to create some content and have like the community vote on who drafted the best starting lineup.
Oh, that's good. That'll be very interesting. Is there a watch along for that? Can people watch it?
I didn't plan this one. Next year, maybe we'll have like a watch along. We'll go live. This one I didn't plan. I just got invited. I said, let's go. I'll tell you guys first. So I got first pick.
Okay, what you got?
Who would you take first? This isn't a fantasy league. This is like where you're building your own team. You're the GM, and then the hobby community is going to vote.
How do you get points? Like, what's the points?
Not sure.
Just straight player? Oh man.
I'm going Embiid.
You going Embiid?
I'm going Embiid.
Okay, you should. I probably would go Steph.
So Steph is so likable, but Embiid, I was like, I got to put my money where my mouth is. I got first pick. So I'm going to Embiid, Zion, Trey is who I think, because it doesn't come back to me for a while, right?
You like Trey? You like Trey?
No.
Oh, neither do I. So we're in the same boat.
But
it's something like this, Trey may put some points up for you.
Yeah, I think so too. And like, it'll be interesting. I have no idea how it's going to work out. I'm obviously not going to get Luka, and I'm not taking Luka with the first pick. I don't think Luka's that good, to be honest.
People can compare Trey to Steph. What do you think about that?
I think that was the craziest shit I've ever seen.
Like,
I think people need to watch the games more before they put money.
Yeah, man. You can't just say, "Oh man, that dude's short. He plays guard. He shoots a 3." That's the next step.
If you would watch, you would see that one of Curry's most amazing qualities is how he moves off the ball.
That's right.
And Trey doesn't play off the ball ever.
No.
And I just don't think people watch the games, like very simply.
Oh, this is a good question. What do you think of DeJounte Murray?
I think on that team the first 20, 30 games. So last year they started out slow. The year before that, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Knicks. I can't believe that shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to come out really, really hot this year with something to prove. And I think Deontay kind of confuses the defense, right? Like, I think early on in the season with not a lot of tape, they're going to be a problem. I think later on, teams are going to be like, I figured out how to stop this.
I've already seen him slashing in the preseason. He likes to slash and dish.
But it's like 2 point guards. Deontay can't really shoot.
They don't work well together to me. The Deontay has no jump shot.
In the beginning, I think it's just going to be like action and all this young talent, and I think they're real. I think you'd have to think they're motivated going into the season to like, because they really underperformed last year in my way.
And I also say as a franchise, we talked about every athlete doesn't want to be a superstar, doesn't want to be on that level. Every franchise is not trying to win a championship. They're trying to stay relevant and put butts in seats and get somebody to turn to this TV and turn on the game.
By the way, if you guys are going, and you guys should go Culture Collision. Prism God puts that show.
Oh yeah, in Atlanta. Yeah,
in Atlanta. Go to a Hawks game. Really awesome stadium. So we went with Lenhart. It's a kind of a smaller arena. You park. You literally walk in, and if you sit in like the lower section, they have a buffet.
Oh really?
They got a buffet. It was the best experience ever. You got
Atlanta, huh?
Atlanta. Go to a Hawks game. It was worth it. It was very worth it. You sit, delicious food. There's like a lounge underneath the seating area.
I remember this.
It was dope. We should go. We should go to a game.
We should go to a game. Goldberg, you know this is the start of something.
I'm a big fan of yours, dude. I got good vibes. I got good vibes from afar for sure.
I'm a big fan of what you and Cage are doing, brother. You know, I appreciate you being here, spending time. I know you got something to go to in a minute, but I appreciate you being here, spending time. I look forward to this all day. I've been charged up all day to get in here and have this conversation. And you know what's funny? I didn't look down one time at questions that I had. We've been rolling, man.
We've been rolling. No, dude, it's a blessing. Like, I'll tell running a business is never easy, and trying to grow and the hobbies going through or whatever it's going through. But I do try to remind myself, like, this was my dream at one point, to just talk sports.
Yeah.
So I mean, how lucky can we be? And then you have a good host, and I love going live and like seeing the community.
Yeah, man, people in here. You got Dexo screaming you out, man. Goldberg!
I think he's screaming out the other Goldberg, but I appreciate you having me on. I'm happy to come back. I'm excited for you to have Cage. It'll be a different vibe. But I think you guys will really hit it off.
I appreciate you, brother. You don't know how much. And now, you saw the intro.
Yes, sir.
So I got to ask you, who you
I'm rolling with FD.
Well, so let's say this so we can get it recorded right to make sure we can put it in. So Goldberg.
I'm rolling with FD.
That's original. We got to keep that one. My man. We got number love for you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Everybody, Goldberg, check them out. Looking Nation Network with Cage. They do good stuff. Watch what they're doing. I'll talk to you later, brother.
Peace.
Hey, good luck tonight. Good luck drafting. I can't wait to hear who you get.
Thank you. I'm sure they'll put up. When is this? Oh, this did air.
This is airing right now. We'll get a new thumbnail on it tonight. We'll chop some of these videos up. We'll definitely put out the Prism thing on YouTube.
Cool.
As well as Instagram.
Just if you send us like a collab post, we could do a collab post if you post something.
I'll do that. When I post it, I'll do that.
Appreciate you. See you guys.
You have a good one, brother.
Say hi to Junior.
All right. I will. You have a good one, sir.
Peace.